even. Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in fourth straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
Who's digging in to start tonight? High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champion. Left center field.
Can you believe it? Curry brings the home for 1-1. And this ball is launched high and very deep to right. Long gone. It's second of the night.
The 1-1 pitch to McRae. In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Oh, Foster's a wild pitch, and the Reds have won the National League pennant.
Let's go!
My God! Opening day by Ramon Hernandez.
To left field and over the head of Kelly, who goes all the way back to the track and watches it go out for a grand slam.
Who knows what happens after you get to this?
Swoop to right. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, we are trying to figure all this out. Don't even know, really, quite frankly, if we are being heard. I'm at least that close to mid-season for him to know that. Intro's not all the way done, but I got to be honest. I was working on that intro for a little while. I stayed out later than I probably should have on Friday night to try to get myself in a position where I could even test it out to see how I thought about it or what I thought about it. And if I would have not ran that new intro, I might have had divorce papers sitting directly on the stairs as soon as I headed up. So it's not done. It's not really perfect yet. I'll get it perfect. But again, just in hopes of saving my marriage, I had to at least run it, even though it's not perfect, Nick. That's where I'm at right now.
Good stuff, Trace. Good to be back.
Yeah.
Reds baseball, baby. Reds baseball.
We won. I mean, if you're going to keep score. Well, all right. I'm sorry. Maybe a little premature. You're Mr. Jinx guy now.
We got Alan Buznitz on the mound right now. Let's
all right.
Pump the brakes here, brother.
Okay, fair enough. Are you? I guess, are you nervous? Is that where you're at?
I'm scared. Just
All right.
can't drop this one. It just the whole season really hangs in the balance.
Right. Yes. The love of spring training. My favorite thing so far of spring training is the guy that had the credit card issue. That one took the cake for me.
I didn't hear this. What is
Well, you're just not locked in. You're not locked in. I don't have to tell you. Fact of the matter is, there's a guy that was trying to make some sales out in the they're probably not called the diamond seats, I'd assume, but whatever. They had to have been the seats right below the press box because he just wasn't happy. He was screaming and yelling that his credit card machine wasn't working, and was telling guys, "Hey, do you need another cold beverage? If so, I can't help you."
Was this over the TV broadcast so you could hear this?
Not purposely. Not purposely.
I had
yes, it was.
I had the radio turned up and I
that's what it was then. Correct. It was the TV broadcast, which oddly enough, not to bring out toxic trace this early into the season, but listen, I'm all for the interviews, okay? Mr. Guardians and Mrs. Guardians broadcasts, whoever's running the show there, I don't know who it is, but I don't need to see the interviewer and the interviewee the entire time, okay? I'd like to watch the game. Put the game on the full screen and then interview them. If you want to start the interview off with them on the screen just so you kind of know who's talking, I get it. That's production 101. I like that. I don't like having to see a big C Guardians logo and then the game in the lower left-hand corner. So, I don't know.
Fair. Now, Tommy and the Cowboy were great. I enjoyed listening to them, and I do that as much as I can throughout the spring. Just a lot of times, like these spring training games, if you're watching it, especially if it's the road broadcast, like it's so geared towards that team. It's almost like painful to watch because they're trying to interview players, they're trying to sell tickets for the season, they're trying to sell bobbleheads, whatever else. Yeah. So that's you gotta mute, put up the Reds, and enjoy it.
Well, the fact of the matter is the vibes kind of started to come back today. That's for sure. You're somewhat excited. You're somewhat excited, and then all of a sudden, you just see some of the players, and you see the colorful grass. As stupid as that sounds, it just starts to bring the vibes back.
Oh, that's a winner.
Go ahead, Nick. It didn't jinx it, by the way. Just wanted everybody to know.
He did not jinx it. I got to find out where the final score button is again. It's been a year, so there we go, baby. There we go.
All right. Listen, we ran that long intro already. So for the sake of time, and then for the sake of poor Nick here, who's going to edit this podcast, we're going to do kind of what they do in the I'd assume the action films out in Hollywood. So we're going to kind of do one of these. All right, Nick, welcome in to the first edition, I guess, of the 2024 season of Chatterbox Reds. It's a winning one, 4-0 over the Cleveland Guardians, and I don't know, there's a couple things that I took away from this game. None of them really pertain to baseball. The one that maybe sticks out the most outside of the guy, as I mentioned already, the guy that was having some problems with his credit card machine trying to sell maybe cold beverages in Goodyear, was the Guardians logo on the hat. I feel sorry for they're not the Indians anymore. They're the Guardians, but I feel sorry that big G with the wing on it, or whatever they want to call that. I'm just thankful that I'm a Reds fan and we have the beautiful wishbone C, and I don't ever have to worry about them making a mockery of my team's logos. But welcome in to another edition, another season here, Nick. We've made it to year 2.
Year 2. Thinking a lot today about a year ago when we fired this bad boy up for the first time, and had no idea where this journey would go. And here we are a year later, and we're still kicking it. So yeah, let's go. Reds baseball.
Set some ground rules here. That's what they usually do before baseball games. For those that don't know, they set ground rules. The managers, the managers are lazy anymore. They don't always come out, but somebody comes out from each team, and the umpires kind of go over the lay of the land per se. So some ground rules for today. No, I'm not cracking any cold ones. Okay, as much as I love the fact that the Reds won 4-0, if they lost 14-0, I would have come on here and said it wasn't a big deal. So I can't take credit on one side, but then deflect deflect and act like it's not a big deal on the other, and there will be no dunks. Okay, those are the two ground rules. The dunks and the crack and the cold ones are going to be for every single time we get one step closer to winning the NL Central, which is the main goal. Anything to add here before we get into a host of topics? Nick, we got Benson, obviously, the offense. Spires threw the ball pretty well. Really, a lot of guys threw the ball pretty well, if we're being completely frank. And then some injury news, as always. That seems to be the main topic that we want to try to avoid if we can throughout this spring training. But knowing you, I know you well enough now that you will bring it up and you will talk about how that somebody's going to get injured, which I love you for that. You're a man of the people, and you like to remind us of that. And then you have something coming up. We'll find out what that is towards the end of the show. But first and foremost, your overall, I guess, 30,000 foot above impressions of the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you always have to start off with the premise, like spring training stats don't matter. So really, like most of what we talk about, it doesn't like make a big deal about, this guy's going to be, this is a good sign or this is a bad sign, but you want to talk about the game. So you always want to start off with that premise. We all know that, you all know that, but we also want to have some fun and talk some baseball at the same time. We got to talk about the deep drive of the day. We got to start off with that, right?
That we do. DSC, as always, Deep South Commodities. Go ahead, Nick. You knock it out.
Well, our deep drive of the day was Will Benson smacking a home run and pimping it. I love what the Cowboy had to say after it. He said, I think Will Benson just hit more home runs than the entire Guardians outfield all year last season. So Cowboy was in midseason form, but yeah, Great to see Benson hitting a high drive out of here. And that was our deep drive of the day, sponsored by DSC. DSC is a leader, Trace. They're a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production. They specialize in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information.
That's right.
Thanks as always to our friends at DSC.
Yeah, I don't know if you have the exit velo of that Will Benson home run. I don't know if they provided that, but I know this. If they don't have it, I'll tell you what it was. It was about 114.7 miles an hour, somewhere in that ballpark. That ball was absolutely hammered, and good for Will. I don't. Again, like this is the weird thing about this. Is like, what do we? You don't want to make a big deal about guys struggling. But you do want to talk about how the fact that it's nice to see some guys get off to some success early and maybe build their confidence. And if anything, I was hoping that Tyler Stevenson would do that. That didn't quite happen. And guys like Will Benson, who, again, last year you're trying to find your footing, found his footing, and hopefully can carry over. And still got a plethora of guys, though, that we hopefully get to see this spring kind of get their feet from underneath them. And whether that be India or Marte. But that's not who played today. So we get to watch a decent amount of guys. I was glad to finally see actually Jacob Hurtubise, of all guys, believe it or not. Got hit in the kneecap first pitch, but first at bat. Shout out to him.
It was cool to see Hurtubise get a chance to play. One quick note, if you were wondering, the Reds and Guardians who share a stadium do not have StatCast information in their stadium, at least not that I'm aware of yet. I think half the stadiums do, half of them don't. I don't understand why that is. You would think by now, with how long they've had this data, I think going back to 2015, they have it, but they don't. So we don't know how long that was hit, other than Trace's wonderful guesstimate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The things that stood out, obviously, TJ Friedel had some nice at-bats in the leadoff spot. Ellie De La Cruz looked really patient, did enjoy, looked comfortable at the plate with his new stance. I know there was a big deal made about that, but his first trip up to the plate worked a count 3-2, laid off some pretty tough pitches and worked then he hit a bloop single, but good to see Ellie look comfortable on day one, and that's kind of, I guess, your biggest takeaway. Tyler Callahan, good for him. Guys kind of bounced up and down as a prospect, hit an absolute bomb late in this game to give some insurance, some much-needed insurance, Trace.
Bubba Thompson looked good. I'm trying to think of some other guys that kind of stuck out. Arroyo made a great play in the field. Again, it's just one of those things where guys are just getting their feet from underneath. It's tough to sit here and make something big out of this game. But as I sit here and I watched, hey, it's just baseball's back in the swing of things. If nothing else, if you got to turn on the radio, you hear the tunes. The Reds are on the radio again. You get in your feels. Maybe the intro of this podcast gets you in your feels a little bit. But at least this feels like a season in which the expectations are exceedingly different, and we know that. We've talked about that already. But if nothing else, if they throw the ball anywhere near as well as they threw the ball today this season, that'll be a big bright spot to come. I think they had no walks. At least, again, I say that with an asterisk. I'll let you double check on that. The reason I say asterisks is because when I get to set this show up, sometimes I don't get to see the every single pitch. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they walked anybody. Hey, pretty good.
0 walks, 10 strikeouts. How about that? Yeah, that's.
That'll play.
Yeah, that'll work. Carson Spires looked really good today. I mean, 4 strikeouts, no walks. That's usually a pretty good effort. I know I tweeted this out, but I mean, he's like 10th or 11th on the Reds starting pitching depth chart. And just to have a guy that's that far down that you at least feel comfortable if he has to make a start. It's not like some of these guys the Reds called up last year where, man, and they somehow got by with it a lot. But Carson Spires, a decent quality arm. Feels like a guy that maybe could be a better version of that Ben Lively role that was really big for the Reds last year. That was really needed down the stretch. So, good to see him. And it had to be cool for him kind of getting the ball to start spring training. It's got to be kind of a nice thing for him and maybe a nice little, boost of confidence to do that and then to pitch well. And he struck out some really good Guardians hitters. And I know they always say hitters are behind the pitchers at the beginning of spring, but I mean, this is Jose Ramirez, Andres Jimenez, Josh Naylor that he was striking out. These are really quality hitters. So good to see Carson Spires start off his spring strong.
I seen, I think it might have been On Base Brandon. I don't want to falsely claim somebody saying this, but he kind of looks like Maley a little bit. Just in a situation where, I'm not saying they're duplicates, but I guess if you put them side by side, they kind of remind me of each other in the build sense. Otherwise, Fernando Cruz went out there. He threw a scoreless inning, although he got the ball hit pretty hard off of him. Guy just missed a I don't want to say a home run because it wasn't really even that close, but it was hit a mile in the air. And I think that even Cruz himself kind of did the old, I don't know if you've seen it, Nick, but he kind of jumped and clapped at the same time. Like, wow, he just missed that. But hey, doesn't matter. Only as they used to say in the dugout, doesn't matter how close you get in baseball. I think it's, what is it? It only matters if you're close in hand grenades and horseshoes or something along those lines. But nonetheless, good for Cruz. You have it up here. Buck Farmer throws an inning, so good for him as well. Two guys that we've kind of had some people in the circles of let's have fun in the offseason and debate things. Buck Farmer and Fernando Cruz seem to be kind of on that list of relievers, if you will, of people that, hey, they should make the opening day roster. They shouldn't. Obviously, Farmer's a guy that doesn't have options, so we all suspect Cruz will be the guy if it comes to that. But otherwise, no offense to the rest of these guys, but I don't suspect them being much of contributors. But I'll let you give them their flowers if you'd like, Nick.
Well, Brooks Kriske is kind of an interesting guy. He's got a little Ricky Karcher in him. He could strike out a lot of guys, but he struggled with walks. Not nearly as, I think, bad as our old pal Ricky, but he's definitely has got like big league stuff. It's just his command has never been there. He does have some big league experience. He pitched in 2021, pitched in 2020, 2021, and 2023. Last year with the Royals just a little bit. So he's an interesting guy to watch that, maybe if there are some injuries, he could find his way on the team if he has a big spring. But he showed some pretty good stuff today. Again, it's first day, and he was coming in against the Guardians, who are not a really good offensive team, against their backup. So, take it with a grain of salt. But he is an interesting guy to watch, I think, this spring.
Yeah, I think it's going to become the proverbial joke here over the next what would it be 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks here, as we preference everything we say with some kind of asterisk about how that it is just spring training, because that's ultimately what you have to do before you try to make any bold take here. Let's jump into, I don't want to say injury news per se. I did again I did find it interesting that India wasn't playing, and obviously that's for good reason at this point. I guess it's come out that he's is injured the right word, Nick? What word do we want to use here? It seems injured doesn't seem like the right word, but something probably does.
The way that I read into it is that he's kind of in the same camp almost as Noelvi Marte. India had the plantar fasciitis that's kind of hampered him this offseason. Everything looks fine with him. In fact, there was a video that circulated around social media yesterday of him catching fly balls in the outfield. So I think it's more just instead of like players starting playing games today after having like a week of preparation, they're just pushing India back about 2 weeks before they get him into games. And also some of it might be they want to also have him get some more reps taking fly balls in the outfield before they stick him into a game. That might have something to do with it as well.
Right.
But as I read into it, nothing of concern at this point. But it is of note that he's not. I think they said March 5th, March 6th.
I was in the boat, and that's why I thought it was a little interesting in regards to him not playing, because I feel like you just put the feet to the fire as quickly as possible, and I know that you want to try to build some confidence. You can't just throw maybe somebody out there that's not ready at all, but the only way to really learn or start to kind of get some significant gains, if you want to call it that, from an outfield perspective, is just to play. You can do as many drills as you want in the outfield, but until you have live action and live balls coming off of a bat in a game, it kind of reminds me of the green folks that try to read the manual and they show up to a job site, at a construction place, and they're like, all right, well, this is what it told me to do in the book. Well, that's fine. That's cool and all, but until you actually do it, you're probably not going to be in a position to be successful. So I'm saying if he's healthy, which again, taking them at face value at this point, maybe he's not ready to go out there. Maybe some of it's to try to get him, like you said, some more reps. I don't believe in that. So I'll be clear. I'm all for, like I said, trying to make sure he's somewhat comfortable, but let's just throw him out there as quickly as possible. Let him get as many reps as humanly possible in the outfield before it means something. And if he makes a fool of himself out there the first few times, so be it. That's part of it. But we'll see what ultimately comes with India, and I hope that he can get back soon and get some live reps out there, because I think, if anything, it's pretty clear based off of the conversations around this club that India is going to be in the outfield.
Yeah, the official report from our guy Charlie Goldsmith, David Bell said India won't play in spring games until about March 7th based on the injury. He can't re-injure it. Did find that interesting, but they're building back up in the progression in a controlled workload. He'll be doing work like live BPs, where they can control the base running. So I guess that's kind of their plan with him, and we'll kind of see as that goes along.
We shall see. All right. Usually we drag these things out and we talk for extended periods of times about what's going on. We did have a super chat. Let me get to the super chats. I was going to try to do that here towards the end, but Anon, as always, asks, is it too early to start Fireball, Trace? Maybe we should have Nick do some Fireball this year. Welcome back, guys. Anon, thank you very much. That's very nice of you, very kind of you. That was a $10 super chat, just for me to tell you that it is too early. We're gonna. I'll tell you what I will do, though. This is a promise, just so you don't think it goes wasted. I don't know if I can do them all in one day. That would be pretty bad. But I will keep track of all these of people that are asking me to do that, and we'll insert those on some wins. Opening day might get ugly. We'll see. Because we're winning opening day. Can I say that? I'm going to tell you right now. We're winning opening day, okay? I'm going to, I believe in speaking things into existence. I really do believe in positive energy. We're going to win opening day. It's been a while It's been a little while. Okay, I get that we've had some tough luck here of late. It seems like with some opening day, we played the Pirates last year. Felt like the Pirates were going to be terrible. Turns out the Pirates were pretty good for 2 months, and we lost. Okay, but we're not doing that this year. We're going to win on opening day, and I don't know how, and I don't care how. I'm not going to predict how. I'm just going to say we're going to win. Okay, clip it if you want. I don't care. Go ahead, Nick.
I love it. Let's get fired up here on February 24th.
See, now it gets out of control. People are saying that if we win the World Series, I have to chug a fifth of Jack. Listen, I mean, come on.
If we win the World Series, I'll do whatever you guys want in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to get pretty bad. I don't know if you even need to ask of anything of us if we win the World Series. If we win the World Series,
insanity. I mean,
genuine insanity. Genuine. In fact, I'm semi-concerned for my health that I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. Like, I really don't know. You guys think that I get crazy and I'm stupid for these little, middle of July games when we blow leads and stuff. Like, I'm not built. I don't think that I'm built for World Series games. I'm about to, maybe we'll figure that out. We'll find out. I'd at least like to find out. We'll maybe that'll happen one day. We'll figure it out. Anything else, Nick, before we get to what's coming up?
No, just I don't know, just excited to watch some baseball. It wears off. Like, by the time we get into mid next week, I'm like, oh boy, we got a whole other month of this.
Sure.
And you just you're ready for the regular season. But yeah, look, it's exciting. I know that on the Reds radio broadcast they talked about it, how there's just some real buzz. They talked about how there was a really, really good crowd, a much bigger crowd than they usually see on the first game down in Goodyear, which is just a big sign for the Reds and kind of where they're at. And this is going to be a fun season. And there's a lot to sort out in spring training, which is also going to make that interesting. And just ready to roll.
Correct. Otherwise, coming up, Nick, what do we have next? So for those that are wondering, we are not going to be crazy enough to go live after every spring training game. Well, some of the reasons because you can't see some of them. Hopefully, we'll be able to help out with that as we make our journey. If we could ever get there, we'll find out if our little van that can get ourselves across the world. But that'll be an interesting discovery along the way in and of itself. But maybe we can help with some of those games that are not on TV, but in the near future. What's coming up, Nick?
Yeah, well, we will still have a podcast every single day this spring. I'm not exactly sure how it'll work when we're out in Arizona. We'll have to find a way. If I have to record a couple on my phone and just upload something short,
we'll have equipment. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, Nick.
We'll have something for you. I'm just playing. We'll have something for you, just like we did last year, every day. And my goal is I'm going to try to keep them really short. I don't want it to be super long daily stuff, because I know most people probably just want 10 or 15 minutes.
Nick likes them short. Everybody remember that.
All right. Well, here's what's coming up. So tomorrow, it sucks this game's not on TV. Weird enough, the Angels are broadcasting every. I guess they're not broadcasting every spring training game, which was reported like it's a big deal. Angels are broadcasting every spring training game. Well, they're not broadcasting tomorrow's spring training game because they have a split squad. They're only broadcasting one of their split squads. But the Reds are not on TV tomorrow. But big pitchers: Hunter Green, Brandon Williamson, TJ Antone on the mound. And then Monday, the Reds have a split squad game. The game on TV is against the Mariners. That's at 3:05. Andrew Abbott, Lucas Sims, Brett Suter in that one. And then the one that's not on TV is a real bummer, is Nick Martinez, Rhett Lauder, Chase Petty, all scheduled to pitch. Then Reds back on Tuesday against the Cubs. Frankie Montas, that'll be on TV. That's on the MLB Network, making his debut. No Reds on Wednesday. Then Thursday, they're against the Angels. That's a night game, and it is on MLB Network. So, that's what's coming up.
Quick question. Before we obviously end the show here is, would the game have been broadcasted today if the Guardians were not playing the Reds?
I think so. They always play each other the first game. So
right.
I think, and so they just, obviously there's really no point in them both broadcasting a spring training game. So it's for whatever reason, the Guardians are the ones who get it. Monday's game is Reds TV broadcasters, and it also might have something to do with Sadak, because Sadak, I'm assuming, is somewhere in the world calling a college basketball game today. And I'm assuming Monday's typically not a big college basketball day, so that probably also has something to do with it, where they're trying to accommodate, Sadak. I mean, of course, they could have done Jim Day or whoever else, but I know you guys talked about it on Off the Bench. It is a travesty that there's so few games on TV, but oh well.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. We're moving on. I did shout out to Fubo. Congratulations to them. They got me back for another 6 months. So hopefully longer than that, actually, the more I think about it. Like 8 months. Anyways. Nick, any final parting thoughts here? Chat, God love you, okay? God love you. I don't know if you're as crazy as we are or if we're as crazy as you, but we're equally as crazy. The amount of people that are in here, middle of a Saturday, when, quite frankly, let's be honest, okay? Reds played spring training game today. Half the players that are on the starting lineup probably aren't starters for the Cincinnati Reds on opening day. Maybe not. I don't know. Shout out to Candelario, though. Love that performance today. Really, really, really nice job. That's how you set the expectations, everybody. Just so you know, you take a little bit of advice today from Candelario. That's what you do. You know how everybody in life tells you, you got to make a great first impression. You got to set an example. You need to set the bar high. No. That's bad advice. See, what you do in life is you come in, you play dumb, you act like you're not the smart guy, you set the expectations incredibly low for everyone around you of what they would come to expect of you, and then when it's time to get going, you come in and you show your true colors, and everybody's thrilled to death. That is Candelario's plan, okay? That is what you do. So you come in, hit a couple double plays, roll over a ball, I don't know, maybe go 0 for 2, leave 3 guys in scoring position your first 2 times up. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for.
Nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up.
I like Candyman. Candyman. Candy Crush or Candyman? Which one do you like?
Candy Crush. Yeah, Candy Crush, yeah. Candyman's kind of... I feel like there's been like 5 dudes that have had that name. Has anyone been called Candy Crush? That's our guy. Our guy, Candy Crush. Was there over under how many tweets there were about the Reds losing the Candelario signing today? Do you think there was 4.5 over under?
Listen. I don't care if they do. I don't care if people are upset about Candelario signing. Did you watch him today? I mean, it's a big problem. I don't know what you want me to say, Nick. It's a problem. What do you want him to say? I mean, it's obviously such a big disappointment today that I'm gonna probably sit up tonight and wonder what the Reds should have done this offseason. We shall find out.
We're screwed.
Let's not act like the Reds haven't missed on some guys either. All right, they've missed on some guys. I mean, Mike Briner, Will Myers, but anyways, you know what? That's not what this is going to be.
Will Benson. They didn't miss on that. They didn't miss on that, Trace.
You're right. That's where the positivity of Nick Kirby's the best. The absolute best. You can't get it anywhere else. You cannot get it anywhere else. All right? You remind me of you know what you remind me of sometimes? You remind me of the little old lady that sits in the restaurant, and if you just walk by her, she'll tell you how great you look, or she'll bring up something nice about you. No matter what. It doesn't matter how you look. There's something positive to say about you. But all right. Any final parting thoughts before I hit this outro, Nick Kirby?
Well, be sure to check out Chatterbox Bearcats' tough loss today for the Cats.
They're dead.
Chuck. Well, but still check out Chuck and Nugent.
Yeah, check them out. Check them out, but they're dead.
They do a great job. And
they do the best job.
The best. And then, of course, Off the Bench with Trace Fowler.
It's a terrible show.
10 a.m. 10 a.m. Check it out, baby.
Yep. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. We'll see what we could do. But nonetheless, I just want to say at the end of the show, as always, very much appreciated. If you could do me a favor, just keep spreading the word. Keep spreading the word. All right. Somehow this show continues to grow. We're going to put forth our best effort to bring you entertainment, but also some expertise, if you want to call it that, or some insightful things to talk about with this Cincinnati Reds team. And I'll news flash. There are times where I'll probably go off the rails and say something crazy, and then Nick will reel me back in with some very insightful comments. And we're going to try to be not only entertaining but positive, because if you like the Reds, we hope they win with us, and we like to be the optimistic crew. Hopefully not unrealistic, but optimistic and as close to realistic as we can get. So from all of us at Chatterbox Sports, and more importantly, Chatterbox Reds, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you very much. The intro, it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better, okay? I know that there was mistakes in it. I don't need to get any DMs telling me that I need to fix this or fix that. There's a lot of things that do need to get fixed in that intro. But if you have anything that you've seen on this show at any point right now, today and tomorrow is probably the best time to send me a DM of what show and what moment, and I'll see if I can't include that in the montage that you get to watch, hopefully, all year long and late into the postseason. And maybe, just maybe, if you say a little prayer, the World Series. So, as always, we'll be back better than ever next time. But most importantly, go Reds. Take care, everybody.